We're not taking money out of people's wallets without evidence. The IRS doesn't do anything wrong. Don't run. We're your friends. But you watch the movie, whether they're in Kansas killing people or in Las Vegas or D.C., it's all about they're the friends. Remember the president comes? He goes, let's be buddies. Jack Nicholson, let's work together. And he puts his hand out. The alien goes, here's my hand. And then he takes it and the hand disconnects. It's a robot and stabs him like a scorpion. Let's go to another caller. Ed in California, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hi, Alex. Short time listener, first time caller. First of all, I want to say I just graduated from a for-profit school in electrical engineering, and then part of our general education was to write papers. And for my last English paper, I researched and wrote a paper about the coming Second American Civil War. My take was a little different than the Jade Helm thing. The Jade Helm thing has really been an eye-opener over the past few, I guess, weeks or months here. Our take was more of the cartel coming up from Mexico once our borders have really been collapsed and turning to southwestern.
Oh, I agree. There is a plan to break up the U.S. down the road, and they will use cartel warfare to do it, and intimidation. And you're absolutely right. That's part of a larger North American Union destabilization plan. And then out of that, they will bring in the North American Union security perimeter as the answer. That's actually in the Banff, Canada 2007 documents.
Okay, and I don't wear my collar on my sleeve.
Well, stay there. I'm going to come back to you, Ed, and then Stigma, James, Ron, and others. But here's the deal. They've got lots of different destabilization programs going, and then as one works better, they'll start betting on that number, or if something else looks better, they'll go with that. They've got multifaceted, multivariate, long-term strategic operations. The issue is they're now all growing and accelerating and beginning to go operational. I heard it a lot growing up. In fact, I got the exact speeches from basically both my grandfathers and my dad that is in American Sniper, where we're not wolves, we don't feed on innocent people, and we're not sheep. We're sheepdogs, and we will defend the sheep, and that the violence and the aggression and the will we've been given is a gift from God. And it is. And I am sick of these wolves tearing the guts out all around me. And now they can take down sheepdogs too, folks. And believe me, they don't like us. It is just so sick. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm going to get to Stigma, James, Ron. I'm going to get to all the video clips, all the news. Ed, finish up with this treatise paper you wrote for your degree on American Civil War. What you think is destabilizing? Let's go ahead.
Well, I was trying to say earlier that I am African-American, but I don't wear that on my sleeve. I'm also part Native American, part European. I'm from Illinois, and happy to see the C-SPAN show when Barack Obama announced his run for the presidency from the steps of the old Illinois State Capitol building. And at that moment, I really felt great being American, but over the years, seeing what's been going on, I'm not happy with Obama anymore. I look at John Boehner, he reminds me of our Ernie character from Mississippi Burning. I see Hillary and Bill lying to us constantly. I'm seeing racism being galvanized in this country. Excuse me, I'm at work right now, so I got all this hair out here.
No, that's what they want. They want to energize racism so we fight with each other instead of fight with the globalists. It's classic divide and conquer.
And lastly, I live with a very intelligent woman. She's a multi-degreed, master's degree in education, a diehard Democrat, and it's hard to convince her to see what's going on.
That's because she's loyal to her cult. I got to jump, but I want to speak to that. They have cognitive dissonance. They don't want to admit their worldview's wrong. They tune into things that back up what their worldview is. But the Pentagon and other armies developed this. The Russians tried to as well. They developed a gay bomb to spray men with pheromones that make them want to have sex with each other. That's London Guardian. If you don't believe me, look it up. The media makes fun of that when I say it, because they think you're dumb and won't look it up. They prey on you being lazy and not looking it up. But also they developed different sprays that makes people get violent and start killing each other. And, of course, they tested it in Vietnam on people, different chemicals and things, PCP, things like that. They got stuff far worse than that. just to tear each other apart. Well, that's what they've given us, but through psych warfare, where we're going to tear each other apart. You spray an enemy base, that's the people. With this cultural tyranny, we tear each other apart. We'll be right back. We're going to go right to Stigma, James, Ron, and others. And I'm going to get to the financial news. Man, there's a lot of it. Third hour coming up. Why is China taking control of physical gold? Huge news on oil market volatility, new ISIS attacks, and more. Even The Hill newspaper criticizing the Federal Reserve, reckoning for the Fed. It's all coming up. But right now we're talking Jade Helm. The callers really haven't gone to my question, though. They're calling in on Jade Helm, which is nice. What do we do about it? I mean, we know it's for domestic operations. We got more video of the military training to raid houses with the police and take guns in South Carolina. We know what's happening. What do we do? Stigma in Florida. You're on the air.
Hey, Alex Jones, I want answers. Listen, quick, though. I think that C.D. Jackson was more Goebbels' contemporary than Bernays. But anyways, listen, I'm a homeschooler of 2 kids that are unvaccinated. What do I do when CPS shows up at my door like they did in Kentucky? What will my neighbors do?
Well, you very calmly open the door or don't open the door to make your decision. At first, I wouldn't open the door. I don't open the door for strangers on my time. But if you do, just tell them, listen, there's no law that you have to vaccinate. So, no, I'm not going to let you in here to try to cook up stuff, so you can claim you saw something so you can try to take my children away. And I know my rights, so I understand that you've been given some report or something, but it's frivolous. So I demand to face my accuser. And I've been through this before. That's what I've done. But as long as you're very confident, being scared of them is what they want if they're bad ones. They have the highest turnover out there because a lot of them aren't bad and just quit. So you end up with a bunch of bad ones left. But I actually know social workers they're some of the most upset people about what's happening. I know social workers that take care of old people that are really good people. And they're the ones blowing the whistle on nursing homes and hospitals, not taking care of folks, and then they get in trouble. So just, again, it's like blaming TSA. Well, the government put them in charge. By the way, that's in the news in my stack. Came out Judicial Watch. In fact, I got to find it. I had it here, and I can't find it. That they knowingly grope genitals for fun and then make fun of people while they do it. I mean, it is sexual assault. But they're trying to pass laws to make vaccines mandatory. They want to make you take hundreds of them. And it's basically a firing squad. I mean, Mexico just banned giving several vaccines this week because it was killing people. But there's the headline, documents, TSA, sexual abuse rife. Travelers have breast penises felt while screeners roar with laughter. Stuck his hands down my pants and grabbed the top of the penis and placed his fingers in the butt crack. Yeah, I have, in Vegas, had a man grab my genitals. First time ever, only time. And he just smiled up at me and looked like he'd seen his heavenly destination. And so, I mean, I've never been sexually assaulted, I guess, until then. And I guess he did it in a friendly way. So, I mean, I did once in juvenile hall have the guy put me in the shower and say he wanted to have sex with me. And I said, I'm going to physically defend myself. I was 14. I wasn't a wimp. I was in there for beating somebody's head in who started a fight with me, but I had to wait till the next week when there was a court hearing. And I said, and my dad's going to kill you. So the guy said, fine, I'll go get somebody else. But I never had them actually put their hands on me till then. But I'm sorry, I digress. Go ahead, Stigma.
Yeah, no, I just think that, your answer to Jade Helm is, neighbors need to get to know each other. And when that SWAT truck rolls up, then it goes down. Because it's got to stop somewhere.
Well, here's what happens. The first contact will be a bot probe. Stay there. I'm going to come back to you, Stigma. The first probe will be a bot to come out and see if you'll just submit to be assimilated quietly. Don't run with your friends. Then if you refuse or ignore a court thing, then maybe a SWAT truck comes later. So if you're talking about going down with a SWAT truck, you don't wait till they come if you're going to go offensive. Just want to explain to everybody, you don't wait till they come. Who's homeschooling his children. He says he's not going to give them forced inoculations. California's trying to pass laws to do it. But in areas like Kentucky, well, there's not even laws. They're showing up and taking people's kids saying you are not inoculated. We say that is neglect when it's not neglect. Neglect is giving kids deadly vaccines on record that are killing people and making them sick. And the good news is people are waking up to this and they're getting upset. Now, I want to explain something. I've read Total Resistance from different resistance movements against the Nazis. I've probably read 5 or 6 books on guerrilla warfare. I have studied it, not because I'm planning guerrilla warfare, but because I've studied so much military history and so much political history that I have found histories on guerrilla warfare interesting, guerrilla warfare. But then you can also add it into what's currently happening today. And they program everyone through the media to believe what you see on TV is how stuff goes down. The reason they want to go after the military veterans and say in hundreds of published reports, well, it's actually thousands because AP would be in thousands of papers, thousands of published reports that the veterans are the enemy and are a terrorist force that may destroy America and must be dealt with. Well, gee, what's the globalist force planning that they know veterans will fight back? Well, they're going to take their pension funds. They're already taking their guns incrementally. It's a test. It's happening right now outside of law. First, they can't buy guns. Then they get a police visit and they take their guns. And the wife's there saying, do what the police say, honey. But the cops are just errand boys. It's like in Apocalypse Now, he's talking to Colonel Kurtz, the assassin, the Army officer. And he says, what are you? And he goes, I'm an Army officer. He goes, no, you're not. I'm an assassin. No, you're neither. You're an errand boy sent by a grocer to collect a debt. Man, the writing of that movie is just so incredible. Everything is like a lesson, every line of it. And it's so true. But the feds had to discredit the militia movement back in the 80s and 90s, so they went out and created most of the major leadership groups to then act foolish so they could brand it as silly and as hidden and as cornball. All the real militias are just shooting clubs and military history clubs, and they're all made up mainly of veterans, and they're real. And believe me, the feds know about them. But the military is the enemy because in the next 5-10 years, and things are accelerating, the entire military in actual combat is going to be autonomous robots, ground, sea, air, undersea. That's all been announced. They're announcing 90% of workers within 10 years in China will be a robot. They're announcing you won't have doctors soon, it's going to be a robot, and a robot anesthesiologist. That was all announced yesterday. This is a plan. Do you understand? It's AI. You want to know how AI was going to take over? They're just building it and believe they're going to merge with it like it's their god. Robot pets are going to replace real ones because they're going to have regulations and laws against their poop, saying it's bad for the earth. See, they're going to charge you for everything to socially engineer you. And they have to have an artificial economy to where you can't afford anything and have to do what they say, so you comply. Oh, I can't afford the insurance to drive my car myself, so the robot does it. And then soon that's too expensive, so you ride the bus, see? And they've all said this is the plan. They have children's cartoons in British school showing the world in 2025 where you get meat once a year and you never get to take showers, and where you live in a 250-square-foot coffin apartment if you're well-to-do. That was out 6 years ago. It's now already being implemented. Do you understand the systematic regulations of the Global Compact, Agenda 21? The Rio de Janeiro Global Treaty. I just got chills again. My God, this is so evil. A systematic evil takeover. And getting us under their control in compact cities is only to get us lined up while they then exterminate the third world with wars and soft kill weapons that are just being tested right now. It's going to be off the chart. Thank God we're in these compact cities. Thank God. And then they're going to shut the borders at that point. They're just bringing in enough immigrants to cause infighting right now. Can't be in the rural areas. Contagions can spread in those. And we've had nanotech get out. And and there's going to be all these controlled, contrived crises.